Hi, Regina.
Hey, Millie. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Come on in. Hi, I'm Regina Durante Jestrow. I am a fiber artist. I like to call myself a quilter. I've been in Miami for over 25 years, and I'm from Queens, New York originally. And I've been in this studio in my home for about almost 8 years.
Your home is beautiful. Have you always had a home studio?
I've had a home studio here for about 8 years, and then when I lived in South Miami for a little while, I had a home studio. But my very first studio was at the Bake House about 15 years ago, and then I moved to Art Center, which is now Oolite, for a couple of years, and then had a studio at Fountainhead for a couple of years, and then I moved home because we specifically bought this house because I had this weird granny unit with a couple of doors, and so it was like a perfect studio space.
So you've been through a few, I would say, collective studios with artists.
Yeah.
What's the difference you think between?
I think it's great for emerging or beginning or getting to know the community and getting to know and getting help in your practice and having impromptu studio visits. I think that's why residencies are important for me, is because with my studio at home, I get less of that interaction, but when I go to residencies, I get tons of interaction with people that are new to my work, and I'm new to their work. So it's kind of like I'm more open-minded about their ideas and stuff. So it's exciting to be around other artists, but it's also really nice to be by yourself in your studio.
What's your favorite thing about working alone?
Oh, I just get stuff done, and I have my dogs, and I don't have to rush, and I get to work, whenever I want. I wake up at 6 in the morning sometimes, or sometimes I work until midnight or later. So, if I have deadlines, I don't have to worry about driving at night. So it's nice to have the studio at home, have my kitchen, have my dogs, have my family. It's nice.
Definitely much more flexible.
Yes.
So I love going to places in Miami and seeing a friend's work on a wall.
Yeah.
Like even going to a park and seeing someone that I know who has sculpture. I had dinner at the Shelborne the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's Regina.
Oh, that's so great.
I have to tell you, they're like some of my favorite pieces of yours. They're so absolutely stunning. How did that come about? Like, did the Shelborne acquire them?
Yes. The Shelborne acquired those two pieces. I had a show at Miami-Dade College in Kendall in January, and they had these big 15-foot walls, high walls. And it is a large space. So I had this area is about like 15 feet high, about 20 feet wide. And I knew I had about a year and a half to get all this work done for Miami-Dade College. So I knew I had to make really big work. So that was one of the pieces at the Shelborne is one of the biggest pieces ever made. They saw it, the interior designer saw it online. She loved it right away. She asked me to make a pair or a twin that wasn't like a fraternal twin piece to it. I gave them a couple of color choices that I was excited about. They picked one, and I made the second piece. And then they were amazing to work with, the Shelborne and the interior designers. They were just so easy. It was so nice. They had art handlers for me. It went up, and it was beautiful.
Guys, if you're able to just even go into the Shelborne and just see Regina's work, I highly recommend doing that.
It was fun.
They're so great. And on top of that, you're going to be at the airport.
I'm at the airport right now. So that happened in 2021 or 2022. They had a call for artists, and then they shortlisted a bunch of people, and then there was a bunch of construction in the airport because it was the pandemic, and they took time and they closed down areas that were for art gallery spaces. So instead of like a 1 year waiting period, it became a 3 or 4 year waiting period, which is fine. So the show there has work from like a few different series of my work. So it starts in like 2021, and then there's new pieces that I just made earlier this year in the show. So it's a nice kind of range of work. that's there. It's in D31 Gallery, kind of American Airlines area of the airport. Yeah.
Give me a little tour.
Sure. The studio is kind of a wreck at the moment because I just finished a commission and the show at Baker Hall and the show at the airport. So it's kind of crazy. So on this wall, there's some scraps left over from the commission, which I don't usually have scraps left over in my work, but they needed a specific size. So this is kind of the leftover bits. And this is kind of a piece I'm playing with. I also do some watercolors in between sewing projects. So I just finished that the other day. This is some, like, when I'm playing with pieces and trying to figure out what goes together, I usually like hang up fabric that I dyed with other bits to figure out what's going to work and how to make things happen. There's this piece here, similar. This is a very old piece that hasn't been resolved, but
I love this.
I have to figure out how
love
to
the colors.
display it. So this is from my Americana series where I was using, well, it was a bridge piece kind of from the Americana series to my Pieced Landscapes series. So the Pieced Landscapes, I started with using natural dyes and stuff from my backyard. So the trees in the front yard make this blackish brownish fabric. There was a rusty pipe in my backyard, so I made rust dye. Avocado makes this kind of ugly pink color. Yeah, and there's the Spanish moss that I used as a resist. So some of this texture comes from rolling up the fabric with Spanish moss and then dyeing it. And then the solid colors are all from the Americana series and other stuff that I had around the house. So.
Are you usually inspired by nature and your surroundings?
Yeah, well, my husband is a botanist, so there's all these textbooks about. I could show you the book. They're about how plants grow and geometry and growing patterns and stuff. So that, in the very beginning, influenced me a lot because we're like newlyweds and lovebirds and everything was plants. But I went back to the geometry and so I kind of use it as it's in my head. There's connection to that and how things grow and how things move. But and the colors, of course, are nature. I mean, you can't help but make things look like Miami. I think it's so bright and colorful here. So
your series at Baker Hall.
At Baker Hall, those are all the spider web pieces.
Yes, they're so gorgeous.
Thank you.
It was so hard to pick a favorite because honestly, they were just so beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, those were all. Majority of them were dyed at my residency in Nebraska City at KHN. I got to use snow in the dyeing process. So what the snow does I can show you this one again. What the snow does to the reactive dyes, it's a chemical dye, and it breaks up the pigments or the chemical colors. So it hits the fabric at different rates. So just from one color, you could get these purples and browns. And from one color, you get these browns and warm brown colors. So just with two colors, you could get like a whole variety of shades and colors with the ice and with snow. So in Miami, when I do it, I have to use ice. But when I am in Nebraska, I got to use snow, which was really fantastic.
Is it because it's cold? Or
with the ice and the temperature shifts how the chemicals move. So there's like density. So acrylics and watercolors have the same thing. There's different density in the pigments. So they move a little bit different when you're doing washes. So some like sit right down onto the fabric and some move with the water until it dries up. And so that's kind of how the colors separate. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
How did that collaboration with Baker Hall come about?
Oh, I think I just liked everything that she was doing and she liked what I was doing. And then we followed each other for a little while. And then she had a studio visit and then she had a couple of opportunities and then we just made it happen. And she asked me if I wanted to work with her and we do. Yeah, it was great.
It's such a great space.
Yeah, she's great. Amanda is fantastic. It's a great space. She's a great artist. I just really love her work ethic. She started small and she's getting, she's growing in a great way. So I think she's not too big for her britches yet. So.
And there's parking.
And there's parking. Yeah.
Hey, we're in Miami. I had to mention that, guys. Go to Baker Hall if you're able to see Regina's show before it closes.
Yeah.
So I love these.
Oh, those are all like little sketches for bigger pieces.
So these are just like previews.
Yeah, like if I'm nervous about color palette, or if I'm playing around, or if I don't have like a huge deadline to get up to, I usually play with stuff before I get really big. For Oolite, I think 2 years ago, I was asked to do part of their shares program. So all of the stamped black and silver and black and copper pieces were stamped on fabric and then quilted.
I just love when you use like the glitter.
Yeah, that's totally Miami. There was a time when I always found champagne colored sequins at the thrift shops. The party dresses or quince dresses or wedding dresses were all in like champagne sequins. So I had a lot of champagne sequins for a while.
How do you find your fabrics? Like you'll
There's
them?
Red, White, and Blue in Hialeah, and that strip mall has a couple other stores that are really good. The Things Lab that Carrie Phillips and Susan Carvalho run, I get a lot of fabric from them. There's a pile there from them. People give me stuff. I do buy some stuff brand new, but I try to. There's so much available that's not brand new that it feels wasteful to go shopping, for brand new fabric. For the recent commission, they gave me fabrics to use in the piece. So the secondary fabrics are from them, and I overlaid it. So this is from the client, and I overlaid it with a lace.
If somebody wanted to commission, what would they do? What would be the process? Just contact you?
Contact Amanda, and yeah.
Do they usually come in with their own idea in mind, or
no? I mean, I'd rather do something that I'm excited about. Like if it's something personal, and then somebody has like some clothing that belonged to a special member of their family, I would expect them to trust me and let me do something beautiful for them. They could pick patterns they like, I guess, but I think with commissions, they're very hard for personal people. They're easier for corporations when they're just like, yeah, like that. But when they're personal commissions, they're a little bit more specific and a little harder to deal with.
Do you have a favorite so far?
I guess the Shelborne, because they were so easy to work with. They were just like, yeah, that palette, go. So yeah.
So is this your workspace?
There's my sewing machine. Yeah, in
look at this.
2021, I got an Ellie's grant.
That's right. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And I was able to get a sewing machine. So I think the best thing an artist could do with grant money is invest in their practice, I think. So because I got this in 2021, 2022.
This is definitely not your grandma's sewing machine.
No.
You know what I mean? This is
my mom still has her sewing machine, so I don't have my mother's either.
It's great.
So it's called a long arm. So when, and it's a free motion. So when you're able to move fabric kind of underneath it free willy-nilly, I'll just grab something so you could kind of see.
Oh my God, you can give me a demo?
I can.
Yes.
But yeah, so this moves around there so you kind of draw with it.
A few moments later.
So I got some blue thread on top. And I set up hold on. Let me thread it real quick. This goes here and there. It looks more complicated than it is. If you ever threaded a sewing machine, it's the same exact threading of a normal sewing machine. Okay. So this might get a little loud. Didn't grease it today.
Do you have pedals too?
Yeah, just a regular pedal. Yeah. So you just pedal, and then you move with your hands. And this machine kind of slows down when you stop moving, so it has a stitch regulator. So you move really fast, the stitches stay the same length. So what I usually do is just do like lots of stripes on things.
This is incredible. So you're able to move around.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more freedom with this.
Totally. When you stop, you could, move it and start somewhere else. Yeah. And there's a little thread cutter here. And that's it. So that's the front. And then I use a white bobbin thread. The tension isn't perfect, but fine. But after that, I would cut out the piece.
From it. And then you just use regular scissors on that. What happens if you make a mistake?
Scissors. If I'm, I have a seam ripper somewhere. If I do something I don't like, I cut it out. Or if I make only mistake I've done lately is sew through my finger. So lately I've been okay. I like the wonkiness of things. So
you think about the shapes that you're going to make in advance, or they just come to you? There's a kind of intuitive.
I like using kind of traditional quilt patterns. That piece of the top right corner is from the Miccosukee pattern of lightning bolts or storms. And I love triangles, and I love the movement of that pattern. The one below it kind of started in my head from kind of the zigzag or log cabin patterns. And then I just kind of let them get wonky as I build it. Those are all natural dyes, so they're a little bit more light sensitive, and it has faded, but it used to be pinker.
How extensive is the dyeing process?
Well, I stopped using natural dyes because you really have to be really careful about what you're doing in the process. I liked using things around Miami. So rest is really easy. You just have to set it, and then it won't keep resting. It won't fade either because it's actually metal. Other natural dyes fade. Avocado kind of turns brownish. Bleh. Yeah, so I moved to reactive dyes, and I kind of keep as clean as possible practice where I use the dye until it's totally exhausted. I reuse it and reuse it until there's very little left in the bath, and then I dump it down the drain.
Keeping the environment in mind.
Yeah. And because it's light fast, it is kind of more environmentally friendly because I don't have to re-dye things, or and because it's I don't have to use a lot of water with it. With the natural dyes, you have to like cook everything and use a lot of water and use a lot of energy. With the reactive dyes, you could use room temperature water. The ice takes some energy to make, but if I use snow, then there's no energy in that. So yeah.
And this one? Those
are very old paintings from probably either the Big House or Art Center from like 12 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did you start as a painter?
I don't know.
Is that what you wanted to do? But you've dabbled in a little bit.
I don't know. I moved to Miami because I worked at Utrecht Art Supply. So there's always paint around and stuff around. So I don't know if I ever called myself a painter. I still don't call myself a painter. Like, it's part of my practice, but I'm not a painter.
They can be so painterly.
Yeah. I like that the quilts kind of challenge painting, because I'm dyeing the fabric and I'm building the quilts, and they're in a sort of like a collage way, but they read like paintings. So.
This is so interesting.
Oh yeah, those are stamps.
They're stamps.
They're just like a wooden block that I used in the iron dye, and I just stamped it on the paper.
Okay, so what rhyme or reason to your organization process?
There's none.
None
There used to be. I tried to have an organization, but I can show you one drawer. All the drawers look like this. It's all crazy and jam-packed with stuff. So, combination of like lip gloss and cutting tools and pins and photocopies of family photos. And So.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
These are little details.
Crazy. Yeah.
And this is where you keep your fabric.
Yeah. Yeah.
Clearly.
Well, there's fabric here, and it was organized, and then there's fabric there, and that used to be organized. There's scraps there. There's leftover like batting, not batting, but muslin and cotton there. There's some dyed fabric here. There's some fat, and these are so that's where I kind of keep the fabrics in piles everywhere.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah. So that was a test for kind of figuring out how to make the pieces kind of hang off the canvases. So
yeah,
it's like 30.
How are they usually installed?
Velcro, super easy. So
and
they're backed
because they look so heavy sometimes.
No, yeah, they stay. So this is a piece, and the back is all felt.
Oh, wow. It does feel thick.
Yeah, has a little. So this is all hand dyed. This is actually fabric I bought from a place in Kendall. That's like a, I don't know, tree wood grain print on gold, which is hilarious. But it reminded me of like gumbo limbo trees.
Yes.
So it has like that gumbo limbo reddish, goldish kind of thing. So yeah. So the back is felt, and then when a piece is sold, I make, this is a broken one, but I make custom mounts for them. So the shape of the piece would be kind of the top of that, and then I would put, this is an old one, but I would put Velcro on the whole mount, and then the mount gets screwed to the wall, and then the piece gets.
So you kind of draw it in the same.
In the top edge of the piece.
Of the piece.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Ah.
I use more Velcro. This is a little piece, so I didn't have to use very much Velcro, but the bigger pieces use a lot of Velcro.
I love your frame series.
Oh, thanks you. Yeah. I like framing the little ones because it kind of gives them more presence.
I think they're sweet. They just seem like intimate.
Yeah. And not having them not framed, they seem a little bit more like sketches or sort of goofy. But when they're framed, they're taken a little more seriously.
To me, there's just like these studies that are just so cool to have.
Yeah. Yeah. So the gold, the neon green and the orange are from Nick Gilmore. So he was doing upholstery of some of his work. He's a woodworker. He makes these amazing, and a printmaker. He does amazing work. And I went to a studio and he had some scrap fabric and he gave me like, I don't know, half a yard of each. And then they're with some chino pants. Chino pants are amazing. So they come in tons of colors and they don't rip. So it's great. Yeah.
I'm checking out your book collection.
Yeah.
You have patchwork, you have cloth. Which one's your favorite?
Oh, they're all my favorite. They're all sort of different. The Ogo de Moral is on top because their show's up right now at the ICA. Cloth,
I saw it, by the way. It's really incredible.
Rosie Thompson is really amazing quilter. Louise Bourgeois is up top because a lot of the spiderweb influence was from her recently. Ritty Jacoby is amazing. She's a little lesser well known, but she makes amazing installations with weavings.
And Helen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Helen Frankenthal, of course. Liza Liu is amazing. She uses beads in her work in a non kind of traditional way of using beads. She glues them to things and has a team of people that help her weave them into panels. I love the dimensionality that Elizabeth Murray has. I always have Elizabeth Murray in mind when I'm working for some reason.
Is she a big inspiration?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And then there's just like a lot of older books. My very first quilting books are down there and stuff I can't get rid of.
So do you normally think of a theme and then go with it, like for the spider webs?
I think in my head I have like series going on. So like with the Americana quilts, I was researching about Black Lives Matters, and it was during COVID, and I was figuring out where my place was as a white woman in America as Black Lives Matters was going on, or the protests were going on. So work was kind of built out of this research and trying to figure out what was going on and stuff. So I made like one piece at a time. But I bought, 3 yards of I don't know, 50 or 60 colors of skin tone fabric. So all of these Americana pieces were all flesh tones. And so that was kind of a big group of work that I didn't intend on making like 75 pieces, but ended up being about 75 pieces in that series. And
that's
that
a lot.
Well, it was 2 years of work.
2 years of work.
And it went from like tiny things to big things.
Is that more or less how long it takes to just complete a series? Like, I'd say you have to give it a couple of years.
I don't know. I mean, it depends on, like, it bridged into the pieced landscapes. So because I got bored with the solid colors of fabrics that I was buying, I started playing with the natural dyes and started playing with the reactive dyes and started incorporating materials from around Miami because we weren't a lockdown anymore. And so it kind of just bridged into the piece landscape things. And it just, and that lasted since 2022. That's sort of still where I'm at. Like they're all kind of landscapey in my head. As far as color palette or structure, or like you said, how things are kind of related to like the natural world. And then even though the spider webs are kind of really specific and as a group of spider web patterns, it's still sort of, and to me, it still kind of relates to the piece landscapes because it's still colors, it's still materials that are related to Miami and the landscape stuff. So they just got more specific. So.
This one in the back, it just kind of seems like palm trees to me, or leaves.
Yeah, I had an amazing residency in 2024 at the Sam and Adele Golden Foundation.
Ooh, how was that?
Oh my God. They give you tons of education about paint. That's a mile away from the paint factory for golden acrylics. So golden acrylics, Williamsburg oils, pan pastels, and core watercolors are all made within a mile of the residency. You get access to all of the paints. You get access to all this education about the materials. They show you everything from canvas and paper and how to build a surface and preparing a surface to everything in between, to like how to ship your work and how to store your work and everything else. So and everything in the middle is like, you know, how pigments, they taught me a lot about the color separation. So this piece is actually made with acrylic paints in a similar way of like doing shibori or tie-dye. So I crumpled up the fabric, poured the paint over it, let it dry, and then uncrumpled the fabric.
You get these little speckles of baby blue.
Yeah, that was
like it's like magic.
Yeah, yes. So this was one container where I mixed these two colors, and then this was another color that I mixed two colors. And then it'll get and I'm right now playing with scale and trying to figure out what to cut it up and turn it into. So that's why it's up here with all these little paper things. So.
Gosh, and you pin numbers on them?
Well, they're all 3-inch. They're all from a 3-inch strip. So these are all from a 3-inch strip of fabric. These are all from a 2-inch strip of fabric. So when I'm getting ready to make a piece, I usually cut a bunch of the same size triangles or stripes out.
So it kind of serves as a guide in a way.
Yeah. So I'm figuring out like, do I want these big giant triangles or do I want little tiny triangles? You know. So this is just kind of helping me. And then I have this bag of pinks that I'm probably gonna dig into for this piece. So I don't know. We'll see.
How important do you think residencies are for artists, and why people should try?
They're super exciting
to get into that,
and important because you're growing your network. Every place has such a specific influence on your work. Like I went to Vermont Studio Center in the spring, and I met the other artists were super great. The staff there were super inspiring. Like it was so great. And then there was a wool mill next door. So we got a tour of the wool mill and I got some wool fabric from them. And one of the pieces are in the airport show that have wool in it. So I got tons. I don't even think I have any wool here left. Or if I do, it's hidden somewhere. But yeah, so there's really a lot of specificity you could get from these residencies, and just hanging out in your friends' studios. And we had bonfires every other night, and you can't do that here because it's too hot. You know? So it's like it was so great to just hang out and meet these other artists from other places that you'll never meet. To work in these really beautiful spaces. I had like super high ceilings. And I every time I go to a residency, I work a little bit differently. I don't work like I work here. Like I have a specific system here. When I go to residencies, I just have to like make it work, and the system always changes. So
and you make friends across the country,
and you make the friends across the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where you met Jackie?
Jackie Gopi?
Yeah.
No, from Utrecht.
Really?
Yeah. I know Jackie.
She always has the nicest things to say about you.
Yeah. She's great. I love Jackie.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, she's a painter, and I worked at Utrecht. So if you ever painted in Miami or was an architecture student, you know me. Or in the 90s, right? Because I was there like all throughout the 90s. So yeah.
How good was that experience? And just in terms of getting like supplies and
great. I mean, the employee discount was fabulous. And that's like the one thing I stayed there for was the employee discount.
Supplies are expensive.
Yeah.
Even more so now.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why I use the dyes, because they're probably less expensive. I use repurposed materials because they're a lot less expensive. I think there's a reason why artists are using alternative materials these days, is because it's easier to get, it's more affordable.
I love that your studio has plenty of natural light.
Yeah, that was another reason. So the door was over here, but we changed it to all glass. Now it's not too much light because I have like stuff taped to it, but yeah, it's really, even later in the day at like 2 or 3 o'clock, it's beautiful in here.
You have all this gorgeous like green outside.
Yeah.
Look at this, all your thread.
Yeah, I can't help myself with thread.
What is the initial stages of a piece for you? Is just you sit down, do you sketch it out at all?
Sometimes. I keep a sketchbook practice. Let me find a sketchbook that's not too embarrassing. Yeah, this is a big one, but I like just kind of do
oh my gosh, yeah.
Things.
Look at this.
So this, I printed a fabric that I made onto like a vellum, and then I cut it up and just playing with it. This specific fabric turned into something totally different, but the sketchbook turned into.
I have no idea. I love looking at artist sketchbooks.
Yeah, that's a good sketch. It's a good drawing. Yeah, sometimes I would scrap
and play with like which fabric would fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That piece is going to be a piece. Yeah. Yeah, more fabric. Oh, my fabric world stuff. Yeah.
So how do you handle any challenges that comes your way?
Any challenge? I don't know. Carefully. What do you mean? Like, what kind of challenge?
Like, if an art piece is not going your way, or do you have to stop and revisit?
I roll up things, put them away, and start anew. And then I don't normally cut up things. I usually roll them up and hide them. That's why the curtain's there.
Oh, you have
all the failures
so you have
are back there.
Space too, so that's amazing.
That's also the laundry room and crazy.
Do you listen to music or podcasts or?
Yes.
Yeah.
And books. And yeah. Books lately have been keeping me kind of focused and moving. So if I need to if I'm beginning something, if I'm starting something, a book will keep me, or a podcast will keep me focused. On the sewing machine, music helps. When I'm drawing or sketching, usually a book. So yeah.
So what's next for you?
What's next? So I'm going to Penland in January. I'm super excited.
Congratulations.
It's my first time there, and it's a historical craft community there. So I'm going to be, I think I'm going to be dyeing fabric, painting on fabric, and using acrylics and watercolors, and making materials for new artwork, for new art quilts, because I have a show next September in Austin, Texas at Ivester Contemporary.
Congratulations.
So everything from now to then is going to be for Ivester. So yeah.
So you have a residency?
I go to Penland, yeah.
And then you have an exhibition?
In September next year. Yes.
You're going to be swamped.
Yes. So I'm already planning. I'm figuring stuff out. I use SketchUp and I draw out the space. So because I can't be there, so it's hard. I when the space is local, I can walk around and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I still use SketchUp to map things out. But I've been looking a lot at SketchUp. I've been thinking about my spiderweb pieces. I've been drawing a bunch. So I haven't really physically started anything for Ivester, but it's all kind of, bubbling up. So, yeah.
So what's your advice? Students or inspiring artists?
My advice to students or aspiring artists would be do what you're passionate about. And that breaks are important. And don't follow trends. And save your money.
Yeah. It's important.
It's important. Be smart with your investments and your money and don't overspend. And be frugal.
It's good advice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Regina, for having me over today.
Thank you, Millie.
I'm going to leave Regina's info down below and some articles. Bye.
Bye.